Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. He paid me some money to mention the book. And to go check it out if you want to read a book that you'll never understand because it's so dense and people who say they understand it, I really don't believe them. But maybe they do because they're smarter than me, but who knows. But go check it out. They're paying me to mention the name. It's not even funny. This episode's going to be about comedy. Stand-up comedy. I don't know what comedy is such a broad term, but people say, I'm going to do comedy tonight. That's weird. I'm going to be funny. I don't know, but first I'm gonna. Today was weird at work because I have a job, and at my job I do things, and one of the things I do is I load trucks with a bulldozer type thing. I still don't know what it's called. I have no idea what it's called. It has like a big scooper on the end of it, and I scoop it into. They call it a caterpillar, and the guy who I load the truck, the guy whose truck I load. Oh, so you want to do podcasts? Can you speak? So the guy whose truck I load, he's usually like very like he's always out of breath whenever he talks to me. He's always like, you gotta make sure you gotta give me all these rules. You gotta make sure the he's like a little banjo in his mouth when he talks, but he always has all these rules, and today he came and I was like, I'll meet you back there. So then I grab the keys to this caterpillar bulldozer thing, and I walk all the way across the parking lot in the rain because that's where we keep it, and there was a flat tire, like a huge giant flat tire, and I was like, fuck, I can't do this now. What am I supposed to do? So I had to walk all the way back in the rain, and luckily the maintenance guy was there, and I was like, hey, there's a flat tire. And he's like, So then I told the manager, I refused to say my manager or my boss. So I told the manager, and he's like, well, load him with the tractor. And the tractor is like much tinier. So I was like, all right. So I grabbed the keys and I walked all the way across the parking lot. And I got in the tractor and I started it, and it didn't start. Well, I tried to start it, and it didn't start. So I was like, what if we have thousands of dollars of equipment, and nothing works? So to make a long story short, he filled the tires, and I was so nervous to drive back there because I was like just waiting for this guy to flip out on me and be like, he's like such a tiny guy, and he just like when I imagine him talking to me, I imagine him rolling around. He doesn't roll around, but I imagine him like rolling around and in the dirt and stuff. He's like, because he's so tiny, and I'm always up high in this big, huge thing. But he was asleep. There's no punchline to this story. He was asleep. He was asleep in the thing. I thought at first that he was super pissed because his hand was like in his head and his eyes were closed, and he had this big puss on his face. And I thought he was so angry this time that he didn't even want to look at me. So I got a load, and then I put it in the truck, and it made this huge, loud bang, and he woke up, and he's like, oh. So I was like, this whole time I was nervous. I should have prefaced the whole thing by saying I was nervous because this whole situation was taking really long, and I know this guy was going to be super mad, but whatever. I feel like everybody's always mad. Everybody, like, I think I allow myself to be, what's the word? Fucked with? Because I try to be understanding, and I think people take advantage of that. This is not like, oh my god, woe is me, I'm such a victim. I mean, like, that's just my personality. I'm always like, I always try to be understanding. So I think some people take advantage of that, and then I get mad, and they're like, what the fuck? Where'd that come from? And I'm like, well, I'm just a normal person, just like you. I just try to be nice at first. Anyways, the point is, last night I got a call from the. I run a stand-up comedy show that makes me sound so egotistical. I run a show, but I host a show, and the owner called me last night. Oh no, I called him because I wanted some details about something, and he's like, "Well, I got you on the phone," and I was like, "God damn it!" I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, I've been getting all kinds of complaints. I don't know who you're getting. I don't know where you're finding these comics, but a lot of these comics, they're just so dirty, and they're talking about their dicks. I had one lady come up to me and say, I've never been so offended in all my life. All they talked about was their dicks. And I was like, okay, I don't... First of all, you're being hyperbolic. Nobody just sat there and talked about their dick. I know what you're saying, but like, if you're the most offended that you've ever been offended in your entire life, and you're sitting there just taking it, then that's like eating a cheeseburger that's so disgusting just so you complain about it later. Like, what are you sitting there for then? Like, leave. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And then the guy, like, I understand where the guy's coming from. It's his business. He wants, he's getting bad reviews on Facebook and stuff like that. But, like, I didn't know what to say. So I was like, all right, I'll try to find cleaner comics. And he's like, no, we need raunchy. I want raunchy. And I'm like, what are you? I don't know what to do. I don't know. What do you? Do I have to like sit there and watch tapes? Do I have to get tapes from people? And I'm like, okay, I guess you're kind of clean, but not really because you're a little raunchy. I don't even know what raunchy means. Raunchy's talking about your dick, right? So I don't even know what's funny anymore, to be honest with you. I have no idea what is funny. Like comedy, before I started doing stand-up, I used to think everything was funny. Now I just think farts are funny. I just think mischievous things are funny, like being like, ooh, yeah. Like I don't think stand-up's funny anymore. I blank out. When I go to an open mic or a show, I just blank out when people are up on stage, and I laugh when I realize the audience is laughing around me. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, oh man, this is so funny. Because I don't want to be rude, but like usually I'm just like looking at my hand and I'm like, well, what is this dot on my hand? What is it? Do I have hand cancer? I have hand cancer. Oh my god, I have hand cancer. And somebody will tap me on the shoulder and be like, this guy's really funny, right? And I'll be like, I have hand cancer. I can't pay attention right now. But I don't know what's funny anymore. I feel like comedy is just, it's weird because I guess, I don't know. It's just like a lot of people trying, and I respect every single like I don't think I'm funny at all, but I respect everybody who's doing it. But I just don't think anything's funny anymore, and it's no fault of anybody but myself, because I become desensitized to comedy. It's like to funny. I don't know. Like what I think is funny is just the opposite of whatever. Like somebody not really falling down. I don't know. I don't know what I think is funny anymore. Fart noises, I guess. I think it's funny if people are like having a meeting, a serious conversation, and there's somebody in the other room just like like making fart noises and being goofy or running back and forth like hey, like making like tapping on the walls and just like that kind of stuff. That's what I think is funny. That's the only thing I find funny anymore. I don't know. I'm exaggerating obviously a lot because I laugh a lot at the comedians, but it's just, I guess I'm just used to sitting around. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess it's hard to, I guess when you're around it every day, I guess it would be like being around violence every day. You'd be like, that's why people who watch horror movies are just desensitized to violence. Do you ever watch those crazy violent videos? There's this website called crazyshit.com, and it's like porn mixed with just people, disgusting things happening. Like, I watched a video of that kid. There was a tower. There was a video of there was a ride in Orlando where this 14-year-old kid fell out of the ride and he hit the ground and made like a splat noise. And I watched the video and it was horrible, but like people were talking about how horrific it was. And I'm like, yeah, just don't go. There's this website, crazyshit.com, that it's the most brutal, disgusting things. And it's one of those things that like, I'd say once every 3 years, I get caught up like looking at it. It's just stuff like that. Like I'll be like, let me just see what this is all about. It can't be that gross. And then I'll watch one and I'm like, oh my God, like I'd be depressed for 3 months after that. Like there was one where there was like this Indian dude who got in India where he got ran over by a train and the top half of his body was still alive. And there's people all around him just filming while he's trying to put his guts back in he's like walking around on his hands while his guts were like, it was just horrifying stuff. But I don't know. I probably shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff because I don't know. There might be somebody who's listened who got cut in half by a train and they're like, God damn it, now I'm triggered. Now I'm thinking about that time I got cut in half by a train. But yeah, don't go on crazyshit.com or do, and good luck. But there's some horrible stuff. I could go on and on about how horrifying it was. And I watched it. This is probably 6 years now, 5 years, and I still like is ingrained into my brain. But I think the point of what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. The point of what I'm saying is it's just being around comedy so much. I'm glad that's the thing I had to use, is the most extreme violence on the planet. But I'm just so desensitized to comedy, like what's funny. Like I find non-comics funnier. And I don't want to think like this anymore. I don't want to be like this because I think comedy is one of the craziest art forms in the world because it's just you I mean, everybody talks about this all the time, so I'm not going to really get into it, but it's just you up there with a microphone, so it's just it's incredibly hard to do. I think there's that rapper. I don't know anything about rap, but there's a guy, T.I., and I guess he's trying. I don't know if he's a rapper or a musician. I don't know. I've heard his name before, but he's trying comedy, and I watched probably a minute of him doing comedy, and I don't know if he has balls or because like that. I don't know if something like that. I was trying to think if something like that could hurt your reputation. Like, I don't know, if Jay-Z decided he wanted to start doing comedy, he's going to suck in the beginning. And there's going to be videos of him sucking. And I don't know if that ruins your reputation as a rapper. Would that like taint his reputation? Because in my opinion, I think it's awesome that he's like decided I'm going to start from the bottom of something new. It's just with comedy, like if he was becoming a fireman or something else that, you know, most likely wouldn't be recorded, then that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? But like comedy is going to be recorded, so it's going to show him sucking in the beginning. Or maybe he's the one putting it out there. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, like, it's going to show him not being good at something. So then it's just, can you take him serious as a rapper again? It's just, it was a weird thing I was thinking about. But I totally respect anybody who tries it. But I just think I have to try to find, I have to try to figure out what's funny. Because I can almost predict jokes at this point. It's like, okay, ba 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 ba, and now ba. And that's the joke, and everybody laughs. And sometimes I wonder if people just laugh at cadence. They're just like, da 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 da. I don't know. I also think comedy, at least, never mind. I think people should focus on, I'm talking like I do this, but I think people, for me, what makes me laugh is funny people. Like, not just a joke, but just somebody who exudes, like, funniness. Like, I'm a funny person. And I don't just say funny things, but I'm also a funny person. I guess, like, Chris Farley. Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is a guy who could get on stage and not say anything for, like, the first, 10 seconds. And just, like, like, with his face and just his movements and his mannerisms. He just exudes funny. You're just like, oh, shit, this is funny. And he hasn't even said anything yet. And I think that's something that people don't try to understand. They just want to say funny things, which is fine. That's cool. I mean, that's definitely the harder part. I think it is pretty hard to be comfortable being funny on stage also. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with this. I don't know why I opened with the my job story either, but here we are. So I guess the point is I don't know what to do in this situation with the whole comedy thing. It's hard to, I never got into comedy to run a show. You know what I mean? I never got, you know what I mean? I was told that was the one piece of advice that I was given is don't ask questions because there's no audience. And, here we are. But it's just, it's, you don't get into comedy. Okay, when most people get into comedy, they're not thinking about hosting a show because that's just, I don't know, that's not interesting. I mean, it's cool, and I guess everybody has to do it eventually, but it's just not. Basically, you're taking the bullet, and then you gotta just keep the show going and introduce people. But if you're not into it, there's some people I know who are into it and they're incredible at it. I have a hard time getting into it, and but yeah, the point was that I don't know what to tell this guy who wants it to be raunchy, but also not raunchy, and I don't know why somebody would subject themselves to something that they hate. Like, I'm just trying to understand this woman who sat there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, subjecting herself to something that she absolutely hated. I think that's, I mean, that's kind of funny. And I think I know who it was because there was a lady who had her head down pretty much the entire time. And I was like, oh man, you're not enjoying this. But whatever. That's it.